We are living in an era where science fiction is becoming a reality. Did you know that scientists just managed to upload a fly's brain into a virtual world? Or that they revived activity in frozen mouse brains for the very first time? Today, I am going to tell you about two breakthroughs that will change the way you think about life and death. This is fresh science, and future horizons are closer than you think. The digital resurrection, the Eon Project. Imagine a world where your mind can outlive your body. For decades, this was just the realm of science fiction and cyberpunk novels. But today, the line between biology and digital code has finally blurred. We are witnessing a historic moment for humanity. Scientists from Princeton University and the Eon Systems team have achieved something incredible. They have produced the world's first multi-behavior brain upload. They call this digital life form Eon. But you need to understand one thing. This is not just a simple simulation or a clever animation. It is a living, breathing digital twin of a fruit fly. To reach this point, the researchers started with a massive project called Flywire. They took a real fruit fly and mapped its entire brain. This is known as a connectome. Think of it as the ultimate biological blueprint. They sliced the brain into nano layers and scanned every single detail. We're talking about 130,000 neurons and over 50 million synaptic connections. This is the most detailed map of a brain ever created in human history. Usually, a map is just a static image. However, the Eon team wanted to turn this map into a living machine. So how did they do it? They turned every single neuron from that map into a mathematical processor. They used advanced models like Leaky, Integrate, and Fire to simulate how brain cells actually talk to each other. Every electrical pulse and every chemical signal was translated into digital code. But a brain without a body is just a ghost in a machine. To make it real, they created what they call embodied brain emulation. They built a virtual fly body inside a high-tech physics engine called MuJoCo. They modeled every joint, every muscle, and even the tiny sensory hairs on the fly's legs. Then they connected the digital brain to this virtual body. And then something magical happened. When they turned the system on, the fly began to move. But here is the most shocking part. The scientists did not write a single line of code to tell the fly how to walk. Usually in a video game, an artist animates the movement, but not here. To prove the power of biology, the digital fly figured it out on its own. Because the brain map was perfect, the behavior emerged naturally. The fly started walking. It started cleaning its own wings. It even began to navigate around virtual obstacles without any help from the researchers. Friends, let me be very clear about what you are seeing on your screen right now. This is not a cartoon. This is a creature that no longer exists in our physical world, yet it has been reborn in a digital universe. The Eon team didn't just make a video. They built a map, they connected it to a motor, and then they turned the key, and the machine came to life. This is quite possibly the first true digital life form in history. Now, why does this matter for us? First, this is the very first step toward mind uploading for humans. If we can successfully upload 130,000 neurons today, the path to uploading a human mind is no longer a dream. It is now a technological and scaling challenge. Also, this will revolutionize artificial intelligence. Current AI models like ChatGPT are trained only on data, but Eon is different. It uses the hardware intelligence that biology perfected over millions of years of evolution. This will lead to robots that understand physics and move with extreme energy efficiency. Furthermore, this technology will change medicine forever. Imagine testing treatments for Alzheimer's or Parkinson's on a perfect digital copy of a human brain. We could find cures without ever using a living subject. But of course, the road ahead is long. A fruit fly has 130,000 neurons, a mouse has 70 million, and a human? We have 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion connections. To store just one human brain, we would need about 1 zettabyte of data. That's almost as much as the entire internet traffic of the world today. To handle this massive complexity, we'll need more than just traditional computers. This is where quantum computing enters the frame. Only a quantum system can handle the parallel firing of trillions of synapses in real time. Moving from a fly to a mouse is like going from a paper airplane to a Boeing 747. But the door is now wide open. Science fiction is officially over. The era of the digital soul has begun, and the horizon is much closer than anyone ever expected. If we can eventually upload your mind into a digital world, do you think that digital version is still truly you? Or is it just a very advanced ghost of your memories? I'm curious to read your philosophical takes in the comments.
Cryonics, the revival of frozen brains. Imagine a world where you can simply press the pause button on your own life. This might sound like a plot from a classic science fiction movie, but today it has become a shocking scientific reality. For the very first time in history, researchers have successfully revived frozen brain tissue without any damage. This is a massive milestone in what we can call biological time travel. Scientists from Fudan University in China have achieved what many experts thought was impossible. To understand why this is a miracle, we have to look at the problem with ice. Usually, freezing biological tissue is a death sentence for the brain. Why is that? It is because our cells are mostly made of water. When you freeze them, that water turns into sharp ice crystals. These crystals act like tiny microscopic knives. They tear the delicate neurons apart from the inside. By the time you thaw the tissue, it is nothing more than a useless, mushy mess. This has been the biggest wall standing in the way of cryogenics for decades. However, the team in China found a secret weapon. They developed a revolutionary chemical cocktail called MEDY. This name is an acronym for its 4 key ingredients. These are methylcellulose, ethylene glycol, DMSO, and Y27632. Together, they do something incredible. They stabilize the cell membranes and physically prevent ice crystals from forming during the freezing process. They basically create a protective shield around every single neuron. To prove this works, the researchers placed mouse brain organoids and tissue slices into liquid nitrogen. The temperature was a staggering -196 degrees Celsius. They kept them frozen for weeks. In some cases, they even waited for 18 months to see the long-term effects. When they finally thawed the tissue, the results were breathtaking. The morphology of the neurons was completely preserved. The brain cells were growing just like normal, healthy tissue. But the real shock came when they measured the electrical activity. Scientists attached electrodes to the thawed tissue and waited. Suddenly, they saw something amazing. The neurons began to fire spontaneously. They were communicating with each other through synaptic signals. The brain was not just alive, it was active, it was functional. In fact, it was as if the tissue had just woken up from a long, dreamless nap. Friends, think about this for a second. In our first story, we talked about uploading a mind to a computer. But in this story, we're talking about the biological brain itself. We're talking about pressing the pause button on life and then pressing play 100 years later. This is literally redefining the meaning of death. If we can preserve the brain perfectly and wake it up in another century, are we still the same person, or are we now something else? Are we finally becoming true time travelers? The implications for our future are endless. First, this opens the door for long-distance space travel. If we want to reach distant stars, we cannot travel for hundreds of years. We need to put our crews into a state of stasis. MEDY technology could be the biological foundation for that futuristic dream. Also, this will change medicine and organ transplants forever. We can now store human organs for transplants indefinitely. We can even preserve brain tissue from patients with rare diseases for future generations to study. We are no longer just dreaming about the future, we are building the tools to survive it. Science fiction is officially turning into science fact, and the journey has only just begun. Biological time travel is no longer just a theory. If you had the chance to press the pause button and wake up 100 years in the future, would you take that risk? And what would be the first thing you'd want to see? Let's talk about it below. These were the most exciting breakthroughs in future horizons for this week. Which of these future-shaping discoveries fascinated you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Fresh Science is here to bring you the most exciting breakthroughs from the edge of discovery. If you want to stay ahead of the latest news in science, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community. You can find all the scientific sources used for this video in the description below. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning. Stay curious and stay fresh.